security on the cheap. Dad's Army volunteer border patrol plans sparks fury. A Dad's Army of unpaid border guards would man hundreds of vulnerable points of entry to the UK and would in effect be the first line of defense against terrorists, people smugglers and organized crime gangs. Under the proposals, special volunteer force members would be stationed at remote marinas, harbors and airfields. But according to union officials who oppose the scheme, they will have no powers to interrogate or arrest suspects. The plans, labeled by critics as risky and farcical, follows a series of damning reports warning that illegal immigrants, terrorists and criminals to sneak into Britain undetected at entry points with no rigorous border checks. It is understood a pilot scheme featuring 50 volunteers will patrol England's east coast with plans for the scheme to be rolled out along Britain's 7,000 miles of coastline. The volunteers will be part of mobile units that would cover several ports, harbors and airfields. Britain's smaller airfields and harbors have been highlighted as weak points by security experts. Last year David Anderson, the government's former advisor on terrorism law, warned they could be exploited by extremists trying to slip into the UK. Terrorism experts feared there are around 300 British fanatics who fled Syria and Iraq as Islamic State was defeated by coalition-led forces. Police chiefs have warned many of them are trying to return to the UK undetected to carry out terror attacks. A separate report published in July by David Bolt, the independent chief inspector of borders and immigration, raised fears that sleepy ports and harbors, where checks are virtually non-existent, could be used by illegal immigrants and crime gangs smuggling weapons and drugs. The Home Office defended the proposals but refused to give any details on how the volunteers would be vetted and what training they would get. A spokesman said, "Were we to introduce border force volunteers, they would be used to bolster border force staffing levels. Volunteers have already proved successful in policing." The Peace's Union, which represents many among Border Force's 8,000 staff, said the pilot scheme is likely to be rolled out in 2018. General Secretary Mark Serwotka said, "We are concerned with Home Office plans to bring in untrained volunteers to undertake border force roles. The government is making our borders weaker with the use of casual labor and they are risking this country's security on the cheap." Mary Glinden, the Labour MP for North Tyneside, said, "This is farcical. What message does it send to the world about our border security if volunteers are doing it?"